Hi guys, looks like we are live. I am going to just get this video shared in a couple of groups and then we will get started. Hey there, so I'm going to get started in just a second. I'm just getting this video shared in a couple groups. Thanks for your patience. Just give me one more minute. How are you doing today? If you're joining, let me know if you're watching live or the replay and where you're watching from. Also, what you want to know about my scan. Just going to get started in one more minute here. All right, guys, here we go. So, I'm going to be talking about, in this video, about a body scan that I had done when I was in California earlier this month. And it's something called a DEXA scan, D-E-X-A, and it stands for Dual X-ray Absorptiometry. I hope I'm saying that right, but DEXA, D-E-X-A. If you just Google DEXA scan, you can find, you can just go to the website and find a place near you to get one done, which is exactly what I did. However, what I noticed, and the reason I had it done away from home rather than at home in Wisconsin, is you can get one done any day of the week in Southern California, right? I don't know what that says. You know, people are a little more focused on appearances or just more into fitness and curious about their body composition, but whatever it says, they're a lot more readily available in California than in Wisconsin. They did have some listings in Wisconsin, but I would have had to wait a while and there wasn't one near my home. So I had like 4 or 5 different locations to choose from during the week that I was out in Southern California. So I just booked it. And the way that it worked was, you know, you can pick the location, pick the time. It's like a 15 to 20 minute time slot. The other thing that was different, the price out there was only $45. And if I'm not mistaken, the ones I was seeing in Wisconsin were closer to $100. So that was the other reason I was like, whoa, I definitely have to get this done while I'm there. So I just picked my time, my location, and you prepay with a credit card, and then you get the exact address emailed to you, and you just show up on the day of your scan, and that's it. So mine was at a CrossFit gym, and they had like a trailer in the back parking lot. I kid you not, like this is a mobile, like an RV with this sophisticated scanning equipment inside. Pretty cool. But so they basically drive it around like a bus, and they park it where they can. They take appointments and they set up a table outside of it. So they had 2 people working. One was like the scanning technician, although he did kind of go over the preliminary results with me. And then there was a gentleman who was sitting outside, just with like a sunshade and a couple computer monitors, and was showing me the results and going through my report with me in a little more detail and offering, I wouldn't say that he offered advice exactly, but really just some, you know, tips and suggestions for, you know, if I did want to make some changes to body composition, but it was more so just explaining the results to me. So that's the kind of results and analysis that were involved. If you're just joining, post any questions you have below and I'll look at the comments and I'll take questions at the end. So again, this is a DEXA scan. It uses radiation. That's how it works. And it's able to, if you saw the photo I posted a couple hours ago, or it's on my page, you can go look at it now. That was my actual photo. Yes, it's me. It shows exactly where the fat deposits are on your body. It shows like the darker areas where your bones are more dense. And then it shows red for lean tissue, for muscle. And it's just really cool to see. It's kind of like, your own body shape, but to be able to kind of pinpoint, like, here's where the fat is, here's where the muscle is. And now the reason that I wanted to do this in the first place, the program that I'm following, 80-Day Obsession, the initial pilot test group that was part of the filming had these done. I believe they did them month 1, 2, and 3 to observe the changes. I'm not planning on doing that. I just wanted to get mine done as a baseline, more so to compare kind of myself to the general population, rather than comparing myself to myself through time, although I wouldn't rule it out. I may do that at some point, but for me, I always had a sense, like I've always weighed more than I look like I weigh, and so I wanted to find out why that is, because it was something that, at one time it was a frustration that, doctors would say like my BMI is overweight, borderline obese, and things like that. And I knew that I was in good shape, but it's like, why am I so much heavier than I'm supposed to be? And I had a suspicion that I had actually good bone density, right? So doctors shouldn't be acting like it's a cause for concern necessarily if your BMI is high. There are other things to look at besides just the weight to height ratio. But so anyway, bone density and of course the amount of muscle you carry can affect that, obviously. And in fact, if the same, like a person could have the same measurements and have a lot more muscle and be heavier versus the same measurements and having very little muscle and more fat, and they might be a lot lighter with the same measurements. Hopefully that makes sense. So I guess I was just kind of hoping to confirm, because the plan that I'm following now, there are a lot of different brackets to choose from in terms of the amount of food intake daily. And I suspected that I had a lot of muscle mass on my body, and that looking leaner is going to be a matter of shifting body composition. Again, more muscle, less fat, but it's not going to be technically weight loss, more so just replacing fat with muscle, versus someone who has quite a bit of fat to lose, where, yes, you want to build muscle, but you also want to lose weight overall, like you want the number on the scale to be going down. So what I had heard from people in the initial test group was that if there's someone who naturally carries a lot of muscle on their frame, then they need to be eating in maintenance, like a higher calorie level maintenance instead of weight loss, because if they were eating in weight loss, then their body would think it was in starvation mode and would start trying to hang on to energy, and your stress hormones go sky high, because your body thinks, okay, I'm starving, I have to like forage for food. I mean, these are very like primitive impulses and hormonal pathways that get activated. So I wanted to stay out of starvation mode, and not go too low on my calories, but it was kind of made me a little afraid to start eating quite a bit more than I was used to. So that was kind of my thinking behind wanting to get this in the first place, other than just like thinking, oh, that would be kind of cool to know. And so I went ahead and I scheduled my appointment, is again at a CrossFit gym in San Diego, and went out, found the trailer in the back parking lot, and then inside of the trailer, they get you registered, and when you go in, it basically, like, it's not like a big tube or anything, it's just a flat bed that you lie on, and there's this thing that kind of passes over your body in stages. I think it took about 3 minutes from start to finish, and what I was told is that it's about the same amount of radiation as going through the scanner at the airport. So again, it's not something I probably would do regularly, but I thought it was cool to do once, and not too concerned about the amount of radiation I was exposed to. As far as what the machine looks like, you know what it actually reminded me of? If anyone remembers those, the like credit card machine, like if you're out where you don't have like you know, access to a cash register or a computer, and you'd have to like make like the carbon copy of the card with the thing that slides over the top. So that's kind of what the machine looks like, an enormous version of that. Now it's not like pressing down on your body, don't get that impression, but that was kind of just like a very large model of that kind of machine was what I felt like I was lying down in. I didn't feel claustrophobic. It was just more that like you're supposed to stay really still, and then of course when that, as soon as you hear that instruction, you start like twitching. So I was really had to like breathe deeply and relax, but it was over pretty quickly. And then there wasn't like a long wait time or anything. The results were pretty much instantaneous. And again, I sat inside the trailer and the guy went over kind of the initial results with me. And then I went outside where they had computers set up, and they went over it in more detail. So a little bit about what I learned, not because you'll be like so fascinated about my body fat percentage and everything, but just to tell you kind of like what you can expect if you do this yourself, what kind of information you can expect to receive. So I posted a picture of what the scan looks like. If you go back on my page, I posted it a couple of hours ago. And so it tells you your bone density, and it's actually bone mineral content is what it measures, which was kind of confusing because it told me that's 6 pounds out of my body weight. And if you Google like how much do your bones weigh, they say it's actually more like 15% of your body weight. So I think, you know, the mineral content is not the entire content of your bones, but it's the part that matters for bone density. So bone mineral content, and for me that was 6 pounds. And then body fat for me was 25.7, which is at the lower end of normal for a woman. So I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was a little, I don't know, just because like I said, I'm always like, I've never been like a super skinny person, you know, always been kind of curvy. And so I just didn't know what I was going to learn. But I guess that felt good, that like I'm keeping my body fat at like a relatively low level, where there's still room to go a little lower without being dangerously low. So I thought it was helpful, just because like I feel sometimes when you're starting a new eating plan, at least for me, I can get a little bit paralyzed because I'm like, I don't know where my body fat is to begin with. So I don't know, like, is it going to be bad for me to go lower? Can I even get there? Maybe it's pointless to try. And you end up kind of getting all caught up in these like thought circles before you even get started. So it just was helpful for me to have that as a reference point. Like, yes, it's like relatively low, definitely within the healthy range, but it's not going to be so low if I go a little lower that it's going to be dangerous. And then the other thing that was kind of cool is they can tell you the visceral fat, like the fat that's around your organs, the stuff that is definitely dangerous that you want to have as little of as possible. They can pinpoint exactly how much visceral fat you have. So, and they said the healthy range is up to, I think, like 52 cubic inches. So mine was 4.51 cubic inches, and which is about 1/6 of a pound. Now for that one, they didn't tell like how that compares to, I don't know, average fit person, to overall average for the population. They didn't say that. What they give you is, they give you a little chart so that if you get another scan in the future, you can plot your own results against your past results. The only one where they gave me a chart was for bone density, and it was 1 standard deviation above the mean. So again, that was confirming kind of what I suspected, you know, that I have good bone density, that I think, you know, our family has like kind of heavy bones, and that would explain why my BMI is generally higher on the higher end. Thanks guys for the thumbs up. Just about wrapping up here. So if you're just getting on, the replay will be posted as soon as I finish. You can go back to the beginning and watch. So the last thing that I just wanted to mention, there's 2 more things. So one is that it actually can pinpoint how much your muscles weigh in like each arm and each leg. So it was pretty obvious that I was right-handed, but what was interesting was I feel when I'm exercising, like my left leg is my strong leg, but it was actually my right leg that had more muscle. So I don't quite know what to make of that. It just was like one of those things like, oh, that's kind of cool. But then it's something that you also could work on, where if, you know, there's quite a lot of asymmetry in your body, you could work on building muscle more on one side. Lift, I don't know, even heavier weights on one side, or just really focus on your form to try to figure out, maybe you're doing push-ups and you're putting weight more on one arm, but really trying to look into why there's more muscle on one side than the other. And then the last thing was, at the end of the report, it gives you your resting metabolic rate. And for me, that was 1,400 calories a day. So that's, the way it was explained to me, that's like if you're in a medically induced coma, that's how much energy your body uses. Like anything extra you do, whether it's just, you know, getting up to, like, you know, walk to the bathroom and back, whether it's chewing your food, whether it's like anything that involves kind of extra mental activity, all of those things burn extra calories. So that really made it hit home for me, just how damaging I think it is when people, especially women, try to limit their calories to like 500, 600, 800 a day. Your body really has to go to extreme measures then to get basic functions done with that low level of energy that you're supplying. So I just want to say, you know, this is something I hear quite a bit, actually. You might be surprised, or maybe you yourself have said this, but that there are women who tell me that, okay, I can't lose weight unless I limit calories to 500 or less a day. And that just shouldn't be the case. If someone has a hormonal issue, or, you know, something that makes weight loss very difficult, like hypothyroid condition, can do that for sure. But you should be working with a doctor to handle that issue, okay, rather than trying to starve your body, because that has all sorts of other implications and isn't necessarily helping if you have a hormonal issue in the first place. Part of the way that we balance our hormones is by eating lots of nutritious food. So just some food for thought, pun intended. Definitely let me know if you have additional questions about the scan. The procedure, the cost, I went over it all, so go back to the beginning of the video. I went over how to find one, but yeah, resting metabolic rate is pretty cool to see, and to see that image. I definitely recommend getting it done, especially for $45. Like, it's just, you know, didn't cost that much. And, you know, maybe in a few years I would have it done again to kind of see, like, you know, maintaining bone density, hopefully maintaining muscle. That's kind of one thing that can happen as you age. Muscle loss is just a general trend that affects all of us, but that's part of the reason that we do strength training, to try and keep that muscle on our body. So yeah, that was my experience with the scan. Hope this was helpful, and leave me questions and I'll come back and answer them later. Thanks for watching.